Jaya Gopi Janavaba Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavaba Girivardhari Yashodanandana Raja Jananandana Yashodanandana Raja Jananandana Yamunatiravanachari Yamunatiravanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Punjabi Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Whoa, bala, 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 bala. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare 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 Rama Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jayo Kodanitai Maya Poshashi, Kodanitai Maya Poshashi. Gaura Premanandi Ishkangarindike Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Shri Shikonitai Maya Poshashi Ki Jai Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki Jai Gaura Premanandi. Japa Sanga. So Japa Sanga is 1 plus, what does 1 plus 1 equal? If you do a Japa Sanga, 1 plus 1 equals 11. So in our case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So if you synergize 14, then anyway, you get a lot more out than you put in. But if everyone puts something into the Japa Sangha, everyone is here because they want to improve their japa, they want to go deeper into their japa. And then between us, we can find different ways to become inspired. So the real factor for chanting is, do we have inspiration to chant? And if we do have inspiration, then how do we keep the inspiration? How do we increase the inspiration? And how do we share the inspiration? And how do we avoid things that impacts on our inspiration to chant? So, Kadamba Maharaj, usually with Japa Sangha, we run through a few notes and then we just break it down and everybody can say something, can add something, what they think, So one of the first things that Kadamba Maharaj asks, that we should ask about our japa is, what would improve in your life if your chanting got better? Or what has improved in your life on the days when your chanting was better? So we don't need to pass the mic around. You can just chuck out. You can just say. Otherwise, it'll take too long. Yeah. What did you say? Loud.
I feel like it. Some kind of inner happiness carries out all the
inner happiness. Anyone else? If your japa improves, what improves in your life? Enthusiasm.
I get more time to do more seva for Krishna. Krishna arranges my day in a way I can engage in more.
Yeah. If you've got a lot of service and it's more than you can do, then you need to make your rounds worse. Because it means you're asking Krishna for too much service. So you have to start chanting. And then Krishna thinks, well, they don't want any service. You can tell by the way they're chanting. So if you've got too much service, then it means your chanting is too good. Anything else that improves if your chanting gets better? Can you put those lights on? I can't hear what you're saying. I can't see what you're saying. Association of devotees. Why would association of devotees improve if your chanting improved? One of the big problems with devotees is we're moving from Kanishta, which is the initial stage, which is a neophyte. And you know what neophytes like to do? They like to fight with those that are near them. That's why they're called neophytes. So neophytes fight. And we want to get out of being neophytes to becoming Madhyamas. Madhyama is the middle stage of a devotee. That's the stage where he's not fighting anymore. He's associating nicely with the devotees. He's preaching to the non-devotees and the innocent, and he's avoiding the envious. And he's seeing Krishna's hand in what's going on. So this is the Madhyama Adhikari. So, so if we're chanting and our chanting is improving and our chanting is good, then how would our association with devotees improve? Yeah, we see them as a servant and we don't see them as a competitor. And because our chanting is going deeper, then we don't have so much false ego. So there's not so much to protect ourselves from. So as we become more humble, we're able to appreciate devotees more. And then naturally, when we come together like this to do a Sanga, we can put aside our false ego and we can see ourselves as one body with the same aim. And that if any part of the body is improving, all parts of the body will improve. That's what, with a Sangha, that's what should be happening. If one part of the body is experiencing some pleasure, then the other parts of the body can also experience or some realization or some inspiration. Anything else that would improve if your chanting got better? You'd chant more. Yeah, you would chant more. Yeah. If you're really happy to get the bead bag off, then it means your rounds couldn't have been that good, you know. And Kadamba Kamaj was saying, don't chant like a microwave. You chant like a microwave. Bing! Okay, that's that finished. You know, as soon as I get it out the microwave now. It's like the most ecstatic part of the whole japa is that last mantra on the 16th round. Hari Bo. So, yeah, that's not a good sign. So if your chanting improves, then the amount of chanting will also improve. It will increase. If you're thinking of increasing your japa, then that's naturally an improvement in itself. It's a very easy way to improve japa. You just increase. Then already there's an improvement there. Okay, let's go on to the next one. What is chanting? If somebody saw you at the bus stop with your bead bag on, and they said, "What are you doing?" What would you say? Keep my hands warm. Actually, there was the police broke into this motorhome with the devotees in, and the people that reported them to police said, we seen them in the morning through the curtains walking up and down with bags of money on their hands, and they were counting it and they were going money, 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 money. So that isn't what chanting is to us, or it shouldn't be anyway. But if we were to say what is it, what is chanting to us, then anybody else, if someone asked them what is chanting to you, what would you say? You could say meditation. You could say you're praying. Yeah, no, that's a good one, isn't it? That's like really powerful. Imagine saying that at the bus stop, just connecting with God. Wow. At the bus stop, yeah, you can do it anywhere. But that's our lifeline. We're engaging in a dialogue through the Maha Mantra with Krishna directly. And you may not be like fully conscious of what the dialogue is, but there still is a conversation going on between you and Krishna when you're chanting. So you may have some kind of disturbance in the mind. The mind has like all little knots inside it. If you can just imagine inside your head, there's all these pieces of string with knots inside them. And you're chanting and you're trying to undo all these knots. You know, why did he do that to me? Is this going to be okay? What's happening here? These are all knots inside. When you're chanting, all the knots suddenly undo. And everything's like, no problem, no problem, no problem. So that's what's happening when you're chanting. You're clearing the consciousness. You're freeing yourself of mundane vision on things. You're able to see things in a more transcendental way. And also your consciousness raises. You go from the modes of ignorance, passion, you come into the mode of goodness. The mode of pure goodness, if your chanting is really good. But even at the stage of namabhas, the middle stage of chanting, you're not chanting Shuddhanam, but still there's some glimmer of light starting to shine. And just like when the sun rises, the fog disperses. So with the first glimmers of namabhas, the fog of mental confusion dissipates. and we become very clear. Srila Prabhupada once said the difference between Maya consciousness and Krishna consciousness is Krishna consciousness is very clear and Maya consciousness is very hazy. So when you first get up in the morning, it may be quite hazy inside your mind, and you may be grumbling about something or worrying about something, and you start to chant. And as you're chanting, everything starts to clear, and you see the positive side of it. You see why it had to happen like that, why that person had to say what he did say to you, how you deserved it because of what you did, things that you hadn't really taken into account beforehand. Generally, if you ask a person to tell you the worst thing that ever happened in their life, they'll tell you the worst thing that ever happened in their life, all with the understanding that they had nothing to do with it. And then you say, that's a really good story. Could you tell me the same story again? But this time I want you to tell me the story with you being 100% responsible for everything that took place. So then there'll be a lot of details that you omitted that will suddenly, well, actually, I was quite rude to him before he drove his car into the side of my car. And, I did kick his cat the other day, and so many other things will suddenly come in, and we start to. So when you're chanting, Krishna's starting to help you see it, not from your point of view, but from his point of view. And then you start to realize, actually, I wasn't so innocent, and I probably did deserve a bit of it at least, So that's also starting to happen when you're chanting, which is quite amazing, isn't it? That we have access to that. So it can be seen as a pious activity, it can be seen as meditation, and actually, ultimately, what's going on is we're associating with Krishna. And Krishna is replying to us, and is communicating to us and revealing himself to us. So, here's one for a Japa Sanga. Did you know? Actually, if anyone here is on antidepressants, they may want to leave the room just now, because this is really depressing, okay? Is everyone good? Yeah, everyone really focused now on looking on the bright side of this, okay? Because this is going to be so, yeah, there's a box of tissues if anyone wants, can maybe burst into. Is everyone ready for this, yeah? Did you know if 100 people started chanting Hare Krishna today, in 20 years, do you know how many would still be chanting? 12. 88% fallout rate. Okay, so the question is, we're all here, it's the Japa Sanga, it's Karuna Bhavan, Haribol, Shishiko Nitayamaya Pushashi Ki Jai. Why do people stop chanting? It's such a wonderful process, but you'll be in the minority. If you're chanting in 20 years from now, then you can go like that. Well done, because there's only 12% of you guys left. So why is it then? Why do people discontinue? You're having a night, you're connecting with God, my God. Well, and then you come back and see the person 20 years later, you're still connecting with God. Oh, connecting with God. Oh, I've had enough of connecting with God. So why would you give up such a wonderful process, dialogue? You're entering into a dialogue with Krishna. He's more important than having a conversation with the president of America or the manager of Tesco's. That's a really important person, and you suddenly decide, it's okay, don't have any more conversations with him. So why would that be? Having chanted a little bit yourselves, because you've experienced the highs and the lows of Japa. Okay, they've got a few hands up, okay. So we'll start with Prashant, because I've never heard him before. It'll be interesting to see what he says. This is directly coming from the Himalayas, by the way. So get ready for this.
For me, whenever I tried to chant, the process has been lovely, the immediate effect has been lovely. Only thing which I struggled a lot with is focus of the mind because of the thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm looking for a way to focus.
Yeah.
How to bring mind back.
Yeah. Okay, so that's definitely a valid one. We we maybe don't realize how dirty the room is until we start cleaning it. And then actually the room can look a lot dirtier when you start cleaning it. Because before you clean the room, I'm going to make a confession now, okay? But please don't judge me for this, okay? Down in my house, we have a wood burning stove. And I noticed that the shade of, which the color I've chosen is mango. I was looking at the shade and I was thinking, that doesn't quite look like mango anymore, you know? And I made the fatal mistake of Hare Krishna, rubbing my finger down it. And then the problem was, then I really saw how dirty the room was, you know, and realized I'm going to have to clean the whole. So before I did that, it wasn't too bad, you know. I could see it wasn't quite mango, but it's like mangi. It's gone from mango to manji. So it's really, so yeah, when you start chanting, you suddenly realize, this isn't going to be easy. So that's one reason, yeah. You may in the beginning have some idea, some naive idea that the chanting is going to be really easy and you'll just be standing at the bus stop one day connecting to God and a little voice from behind the cloud will say, Abhi, come to me. And you'll just float off over the clouds and that'll be the end of you in the material existence. But it won't quite be that easy, unfortunately. So that's a good one. Yeah, another one? Why do people stop chanting? Making offenses, yeah. So when you make offenses, oh yeah, so we can talk about that. So making offenses to the holy name is actually quite easy. You don't have to try too hard. The best way is to start by being inattentive. And then if you're inattentive, you'll find you'll be able to get the 10 offenses down really easily. Because you see, if you're inattentive, the chanting doesn't work. So if the chanting doesn't work, what does it seem like? It seems like a ritual. 8th offense. And you think the spiritual master is wrong. 3rd offense. And you start getting all these material attachments. You're not able to give them up. 10th offense. After hearing so many instructions on this subject, and you're still not getting it right. So the fact that you're not doing it properly, it breeds all the other offenses, you see. And then you start thinking, there's no real taste here, you know. It's just an imagination. 5th offense. Maybe I should do it like this. Maybe I need to drink 5 cups of coffee first and then it'll work. 6th offense. Or maybe it doesn't really work. Or maybe it gets rid of my sins and I still need to perform sinful activity, but I'll just chant afterwards. 7th offense. And then you start telling other people that this doesn't really work, which is actually also the 9th offense, because if you're either over-exaggerating or you're undermining, either way you're putting people off chanting, that's 9th offense. So before you know it, you've become embroiled. So you have to be really, really careful. If you're going to stray off the path, then what you stray off onto could be quite formidable, actually. It's like if you're at the bottom of a mountain and you slip, it's not really a problem, is it? Not too much of a problem anyway. If you slip, you just kind of fall on the ground. But if you're climbing up the mountain and you put a foot wrong, then you're going to have big problems, you know. So you're weighing it up when you're climbing up the mountain. Well, it's going to be really good if I get up that mountain, but if I slip, it's going to be really bad. So I'm going to have to be in this for the long haul. To get up this mountain is probably going to take a lifetime, and I'm going to have to be so careful along the way. Any other reasons why we would stop chanting? Yeah. Lack of determination. Yeah. Well, lack of determination means lack of intelligence. If you put inside a maze and you had to determine how to get out, your ability to determine something is your level of intelligence. So if you have weak intelligence, your intelligence may be telling you that smoking is bad because it gives you cancer, but you smoke anyway because your mind is stronger than your intelligence. So weak determination means poor intelligence. And how do we make the intelligence stronger? Well, that's why we have Sanga. We have Sangas and we have so much literature to help us strengthen our intelligence. so that we have knowledge, We have gyan, and then the gyan becomes vigyan. The knowledge, which is all theoretical, has to be implemented. And when it's implemented, then it becomes realized knowledge, vigyan. So you may be hearing a lot of things, but it may be going in one ear, and it may be coming out the other one, because there's nothing in between the ears, you see. So it goes in, and it goes out. So they say the first sign of the blossoming of the hearing process is the ability to implement what you're hearing. So if you can hear something and put it into practice, then you know your hearing process is working well. And if you're hearing things over and over and over and over again, and you just don't get it, you just don't catch it, you just don't get the determination, you just won't have it. So we have to hear the holy name, but even more importantly, we have to hear about the holy name. We have to hear what does proper chanting mean? What does proper chanting look like? What does proper chanting feel like? What does proper chanting do for you? How can I meet people that are doing proper chanting? How do they behave? What excites them? What's the energy they're giving off? And in this way, we can learn what hearing the holy name actually means, and then we can start to experience it for ourselves. Any other reasons why we would stop chanting? Get confused. Yeah, I suppose that's also really part of the hearing. Unless you're hearing regularly, then you can become confused. And interestingly enough, Srila Prabhupada, he wasn't so heavy if one of his disciples had a gross fall down, but he was very, very heavy if they had a philosophical fall down. So a gross fall down, Ajamil, he was there getting wood for his father in the forest. He saw a Srudrani in a drunken state, rolling her eyes in intoxication, and he became attracted. And that was a gross fall down. But if he'd have had some kind of bogus philosophy and decided, maybe Krishna's really God, maybe we're all God anyway, after all, and he goes along on that way, then that becomes a philosophical fall down. And that's a heavy one, actually, because that means you can also affect other people. You have a gross fall down, you get back up and say, well, I was really sorry about that, and then you carry on with your Krishna consciousness. If you have a philosophical fall down, then you can start telling other people, no, why don't you think of it like this? So that's another problem, and that will cause you to continue chanting. Any other reasons why? No devotee association, yeah. Sanga chaga, Atyahara, Priyastascha, Prajapani Magma, Jana Sangas, Chilolam Cha. Jana Sangas. Jana is like the general populace. So if you start associating with the general populace, TV, radio, Facebook, then you can become influenced. And Sanga Chaga Satovriti. Sanga Chaga, renounce the Sanga of worldly minded persons, and Sato, follow the saint. Satovriti, follow in their footsteps, follow the saints. Renounce the association. That also means, not that you're standing at the bus stop with a glass bowl over you, and people are saying, the bus is there, and you're trying not to associate with anybody. But it means that you don't take you're not swayed by their opinion. They have their opinion, and that's fine. But opinions are like belly buttons. Everybody's got one. So just the fact that that's your belly button is of no real significance to me. Okay, it's your opinion, fine. But it's not the opinion of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So you're fine. I know you've got this amazing conspiracy theory, and that's really good. And this person's an alien, and you've seen a zip on the back of this other person's neck, and yeah, that's fine. Okay, but anyway, I'm chanting Hare Krishna, I'm following the 4 regs, and I'm going back to Godhead. So I'm not too much involved. If you want to know the real conspiracy theory, do you know what the real conspiracy theory is? It's Kali Yuga, and Kali is in control, and he's influencing everybody to engage in illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, and gambling, so that he can take as many people to hell as possible. That's the conspiracy that's going on in Kali Yuga. And whether he uses Adolf Hitler or Winston Churchill or Donald Trump or Tony Blair, whoever he wants to use as his little pawn in the game, The big conspiracy is it's Kali Yuga, and those are the activities that are going to take you down. So when people are talking about their conspiracy theories, they don't understand that these particular personalities that they're talking about are just being used by Kali in his biggest strategy of how to degrade people and bring their consciousness down. Any other reasons why we would stop chanting Hare Krishna? Lack of faith can also mean lack of patience. If you want to rate how much faith you have, you can rate it by how patient you're going to have to be. Because you may start chanting and think, wow, and you may have some amazing experience, and then that amazing experience may go away, and then it'll be maybe a long time before it comes around again. And in between, you're just going to have to wait and be patient. And if you're not prepared to be patient, then that's because you have a lack of faith. A lack of taste, yeah. Well, actually, you know, this is a really, this is, because we have these things that we say in Krishna consciousness, and we just kind of, but what does that mean? You know, somebody has a taste, you know, you see somebody and he's chanting and he's like, oh, wow, oh, Krishna, it's like raspberry and vanilla ice cream. And then someone else is saying, he's got a real taste for the holy name. Oh, now it's kind of like caramel. And this boy, that guy's got such a taste for the holy name. What do we mean by that? When we say someone's got a taste for the holy name, what does it mean? How does it manifest? The taste is the devotion. If you can do something with so much devotion, that's where the taste is. We're doing it with such like focused concentration, like your life depends on it. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare, Hare. That's the taste. The taste is the devotion that you do it with. If you're not doing it with devotion, you're not going to get a taste. It's like having a big Knickerbocker Glory, and you've got the spoon and you keep flicking it over your shoulder. Oh, it doesn't taste too much, it can, but there's not much flavor to it, that's, you know, and all the Knickerbocker Glory is going all over the back of the, there's not much taste there. Well, why don't you try actually, Hare Krishna? That's where the taste is. You're going to, if you, and then you say, oh, I haven't got much taste for chanting. Well, you're not tasting it. You're not doing it with relish. You're not doing it with full concentration. So there's no way you're going to be tasting. So then there's no taste. And lack of application, when we say no taste, what we mean is lack of application, misunderstanding about what the chanting process is, not doing it properly. And then, yeah, then of course there won't be any taste because you're not doing it. The spoon's not going in your mouth. Ignorance. To ignore also. If I say chago, I just chago. No, I'm trying to get your attention. Chago. And then I'm ignoring you. Chago, I just want to. So Chago's going to get pretty fed up, right? It's like, well, does the guy want to have a conversation with me or not, you know? So we're saying, oh, Krishna, please, Krishna. It's like sitting somebody down, you know, the girl you love, you know, you love this girl. And you sit her down and you say, darling, I love you, I love you. Darling, I love you. I love you, darling. I love you. No. So ignorance is that you're ignoring, you're trying to invoke a relationship. You're trying to give your heart to this person. And then in the middle of it all, you get bored and you ignore them. So that's why it's offensive, because you're calling for somebody. It is actually, this is another depressing one actually. So are the box of tissues here? Yeah? Okay. Because this one could really make you burst into tears. One of our acharyas has said that if you chant inattentively, it's like throwing arrows onto the body of Krishna, because it's so painful for Krishna for you to do that. You've come so close now, and he's like so much wanting to have a relationship with you, and then you start throwing arrows at him because you just can't be bothered. You're just so much steeped in ignorance, you won't apply yourself properly. and he's wanting to connect. He's made such an arrangement. Lord Chaitanya has come, the Goswamis, Srinivasacharya, Narottam Das Thakur, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Prabhupada. So many arrangements are being made, so many temples, so many books, so much is there, and the person cannot get it together to just chant attentively. That's all he has to do. So that's like throwing arrows on Krishna's body. So that would probably help. That would be a contributing factor to why you wouldn't be chanting 20 years from now if you were chanting like that. So it's a minefield actually out there. Don't just think it's a hunky-dory trip around the roses when you take up Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said you're declaring war on Maya. I mean, Maya's already tough enough when you haven't declared war. When you're trying to be a pal, she's slapping you all over the place. Never mind when you decide you want to make an enemy of her and attack her, which is what you're doing when you join a preaching movement. You're attacking Maya. So now she's your enemy. She's on the other side. So you'll need to be careful. You'll need to keep your guard up, and you'll need to protect your Bhakti Lata Bij. And if you're going to be chanting in 20 years from now, then you'll need to be aware of where those landmines are, so that you don't inadvertently walk over one and get blown apart. Have your enthusiasm to practice Krishna consciousness blown apart, which is your most valuable commodity. Your enthusiasm to practice Krishna consciousness is your most valuable commodity. It's like everyone's got a lottery ticket right now, and the lottery ticket is £100 billion, and we've all got it. And you've just got to hold the lottery ticket now until the day you die. That's when you win the lottery. And you have to really hold it firmly so that you can cash that ticket in at the time of death. Any other reasons why you would discontinue chanting? Yeah. Something could go wrong in your material life, and you may be chanting with this idea that I'm going to chant now and everything's going to be okay, A-okay. And then everything suddenly isn't A-okay, and then you're looking at the bead bag, and this doesn't work, and then you chuck the bead bag. Because we're chanting, we're maybe not chanting for pure love, maybe we're chanting to be free from anxiety, to have a nicer facility for ourselves to enjoy in, to be comfortable, to be secure, to be loved, recognized, appreciated. Maybe that's why we're actually chanting. And then when these things don't come, then we think, well, it's not working for me. Because you weren't aware of what it was that you were supposed to be wanting in the first place when you were chanting, So yeah, when something goes wrong, actually when something goes wrong, that's usually when something's going right. But it's the ability to appreciate that what seems to be going wrong is actually going right. But usually you don't appreciate that till later on. Like the boy that got sick and his dad was really poor, and they'd saved up loads of money to go on the ship. And his dad was thinking, he was toying with the idea. It was a big family, and it cost them a lot of money to save up for the ticket. And it was the only chance they'd have in this lifetime to ever do it, And he was weighing up, well, maybe we'll just leave the kid behind, But it was such a serious sickness that there was a good chance that the kid would die unless he was looked after really well. And the father decided it was too much of a risk to risk the life of his son. So he cancelled the trip, and he lost all his money on the tickets. And he was so sad. And it was and the whole family were very sad and depressed. And there was loads of kids and brothers and sisters. There was big families in the old days. And they were all really sad. They'd missed their chance because this little individual had got sick, Then a few days later, in the newspapers, the headline was, "The Titanic has sunk." And he had tickets for the Titanic. And, the kid that they'd all really hated, suddenly they were like, "Oh, you're so good. Oh, a lovely little boy you are. Thank you for getting sick." So you may not appreciate at the time that there is Krishna's mercy, and that's why you need to be patient. But I guarantee if you were to persevere on in your Krishna consciousness, the apparent reversals you would see in due course of time were blessings, although maybe not at the time. But to do that, you'd need faith, you'd need determination, you'd need good, clear intelligence, you need good association, you'd need to be very clear on things. And then you'll ride through the storm, and then in retrospect, you'll realize, wow, that was Krishna's mercy. So it will be required at certain points of you practicing the chanting process for you to continue on through lack of taste, difficulty, confusion, bewilderment, just with this last shred of faith. No, this is the Yuga Dharma. Srila Prabhupada wouldn't cheat us. He's asked us to do this. I've committed now. Come hell or high water, I'm going to chant. I'll do my 16 rounds. And if you do, I guarantee you will not regret it. As one devotee said in his offering to Srila Prabhupada, when I look back on my life, the only times I regret are the times that I didn't surrender. And of all the devotees that I've met that have discontinued chanting, I've never met one that was happy for having stopped. It's not like you'll meet someone, they've been chanting for 10 years and then they stop and you meet them 20 years later and they say, that was the best thing I ever did in my life. That chanting was terrible. I was getting so many headaches. As soon as I stopped chanting, wow, things got so much better for me. It's never that. It's the opposite. Once they stop chanting, they lose all their ability to appreciate Krishna consciousness. They lose that spiritual perspective and they go down, 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 down. The time passes really, really quickly. And then suddenly their whole life has gone over and they realize, wow, I had an opportunity and I missed it. Being unfortunate is okay, because if you're unfortunate, then you can be fortunate. But if you're misfortunate, that is really bad, because a misfortunate person has been given a fortune and given it up. There's very little chance a misfortunate person can become fortunate. An unfortunate person can become fortunate very easily, but a misfortunate person, once he's missed it, it's very difficult for them to again become fortunate. So I hope that's depressed everybody enough. Anybody still feeling happy? Any other reasons why we would discontinue chanting? Such a wonderful process.
As we say, like what we do in other 22 hours will affect 2 hours of chanting.
Yeah, so maybe when we're not doing our chanting, we're doing things which are impacting on our enthusiasm to chant. And then when it comes to chant, it's so difficult because those are the 22 hours were really bad. And then trying to chant is so difficult. So we need to lead a mode of goodness life, a sattvic life, where we're not performing sinful activity. And we're performing lots of seva, lots of service, and reading lots of Krishna Katha, so that when we come to chant, then it's not so difficult. So yeah, these are things that are working against us, and we want to relieve ourselves of that so that we can increase the chances of us being successful in the chanting process. Another thing which, of course, can discourage you from chanting is that you may be attached to a particular situation that you're chanting in, and the situation may change. You know, somebody may go away that you had a lot of faith in. Somebody may betray you, so many things like that. And then you'll realize, oh, I thought I was unconditional. But actually, Hare Krishna, but actually I was really conditional. I was only prepared to do it on these conditions. And these conditions aren't there anymore, so I'm not prepared to do it anymore. So we have to be unconditional. We have to be detached from what's going on around us. And we have to be attached to the holy name, which we can do anywhere, actually. Even if everything gets taken away from you, you can still chant. Okay, so I think we've exhausted that. But at least if we're a little bit aware of that the process is something which it's very simple, and it can be very easy as well. Very easy in the sense that it's very straightforward, but it can also be very tricky as well. So we need to highlight what causes the difficulties and the confusion and the complications, and learn how to give them a wide berth, navigate around them, under them, over them, through them, whatever way it is that we have to, and continue on with the chanting process. A holy name is a friend, always there, soothing my mind, creating stability in the turbulence of life, and making me detached from ongoing affairs. So the holy name is a friend. So it's good to remember that we're in a relationship with with somebody that's friendly. And sometimes people have the idea that God is not friendly. In fact, some people, they've decided they don't want to believe in God because he's too scary. He's too, I don't want to believe. I'd sooner not believe in him because it's unsettling to think that somebody could be so powerful, and maybe I'll get on the wrong side of him. So like that also with the chanting, we can be chanting, but we could be a little bit afraid of what Krishna is going to do to me when I finally come in contact with him. So that's why we have the Srimad Bhagavatam to help us understand when we're talking about God, what that means, who God is, how he behaves, what his nature is, how he has a very soft heart, he's very appreciative, very loving, and that this chanting process is going to reveal that relationship with him. And Krishna shows Arjuna in the 11th chapter his universal form. And Arjuna, it said that when the warriors were looking, they could just see Arjuna getting down and paying his obeisances, and then getting down and paying. He was just getting down and paying his obeisances because he was petrified. And he's like a big a Maharati, can take on 10,000 soldiers at a time, and he's completely. Imagine what we'd be like, I'm scared of my own shadow. Imagine what the universal form must be like, and that is God. And he's thinking, oh no, I've made so many offenses. I slapped you on the back the other day when I told you that joke. And then I've got you driving the chariot. And, in so many ways, I've not been very, but this is you got mouths everywhere. You're crushing everybody's heads. And everywhere I look, I can see you. You're just, and it's overwhelming. Oh, please. And then finally he says to Krishna, he says, why have you come? What's your mission? He says, time I am. And I've come here to destroy everyone. Oh, okay. Apart from you, everyone is going to get annihilated. And that's what happens, isn't it, Chago? Everyone does get annihilated in the end. So very scary. And then Krishna sees that Arjuna has become disturbed, and he says, okay, become free from all disturbance now, Arjuna. And he shows his beautiful four-arm form, and then his two-arm form, and then Arjuna's like so peaceful. It's like, wow, okay, So don't get Krishna mixed up with his universal form. We want to approach Krishna with love, with a desire to please him. If we do that, then we don't see the universal form. If we don't do that, then who knows? We could see Lord Nrsingadev. I don't imagine that was very appealing to Hiranyakashipu. Actually, interestingly, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Hiranyakashipu was either Jai or Vijay in the spiritual world, and he realized he'd bitten off a bit more than he could chew with Lord Nrsingadev, and then Lord Nrsingadev grabbed him and put him on his lap, and at that point he knew his time was up, But the interesting thing is, as soon as he touched the lap of Lord Nrsingadev, he remembered his Swarup. He remembered who he was. And as his torso was ripped open, he didn't feel pain. He just experienced intense bliss, the ecstasy of being there to serve the Lord in that rasa. The same as Bhishma Dev didn't feel any pain when the arrows were being fired at him, because he was in such a loving relationship with Krishna. He didn't feel the pain. But it's probably better not to ask the Lord to rip you open on his lap, even though that was okay for Hiranyakashipu. If you're a vegan, you're going to be a bit squeamish about that. So probably better to just, okay, look, Krishna, can I just approach you as cuddly Krishna, and I can just give you a hug and play with you and the cowherd boys. And that's what Lord Chaitanya is offering. He's saying, I want to give you access to the Lord in his most loving and intimate and beautiful aspect that is possible in the entire cosmic manifestation. So just approach me, and I'll reveal Brajanandan. I'll reveal the beautiful Kanna. It's called Kanna in the spiritual world. When Gop Kumar finally got back to Goloka, he says, where's Krishna? Everyone's going, Krishna? And oh, Kanna. And then they were pointing, and it's like a little cloud of dust. And he said, Kanna's just coming back now with the cowhead boys. And he saw a beautiful sapphire-colored figure coming with the cows, and he's, oh, Kana, and he started running, and Krishna's with the cowherd boys, and then he sees Gopkama running towards him, and he starts to run, and the cowherd boys are wondering, where's Krishna going? You know, they're all coming back, and Krishna's just bolted off ahead of them. What's wrong with Kana? And Gopkama is running, and then they finally grab each other, and as they grab each other, Gopkama is in so much ecstasy. He's finally got his arms around Krishna, and he just collapses. His whole body just goes limp. And Krishna is like, for so long, he's been wanting to Gopkama to come back. He loses it as well. They both fall unconscious in each other's arms. And when they come back around, Krishna says, "Why did you take so long? I've been waiting for you." So that's the Krishna that we want. That's the one we want to approach. And if we're feeling afraid and or intimidated, or maybe Krishna's going to be cruel, or he's going to do some horrible thing to me, then that's not Krishna. That's maybe an aspect of his universal form. But Krishna doesn't put people on his torso and rip them. In fact, it's not even when the demons come, it's not Krishna that kills them, it's Vasudeva Krishna that kills them. You see those cartoons of baby Krishna. Every time the demon comes, they don't see Krishna, they see the four-arm form of Krishna, who's come to kill the demons, Vasudeva Krishna. So if we can be very focused and very fixed on who Krishna is, how we want to serve him and love him, and we're doing that proactively by our chanting to establish that loving relationship. And the more we can chant the Maha Mantra with love, with deep affection, the more Krishna will reveal himself. That's what Krishna responds to more than anything else, is love. There is nothing else really that we have that Krishna is interested in other than our love for him. And somewhere underneath the layers, that pure love of Krishna is there. And we're trying to break through the layers by the mantra. The Maha Mantra is breaking through the coverings. And then eventually when it starts to break, the love starts to come through. And then we realize, wow, okay, this is what I am. My essential ingredient is pure love for Krishna. That's why I was created in the first place, to love him. That is my inherent nature. And that's what I have to connect with when I'm chanting. Any questions or comments? Yes, sorry, yep.
Can we say like Krishna's mercy is equally available to everyone, but still some are not able to do quality laws? So does mercy is one of the components for not able to chant quality laws? Can we say?
Okay, so just to make sure I got your question correctly, if Krishna, if it's only by Krishna's mercy that we can chant quality rounds, then why is it that some people have Krishna's mercy and some people don't have Krishna's mercy? Is that it?
So we can chant Krishna by mercy.
We can chant only by his mercy. Yeah. Yeah, well, that's interesting, actually. I just read that a few months ago. Although it seems highly inappropriate, but actually we're supposed to pray to Krishna. Can you please allow me to love you? Can you give me love for you? Because I can't love you, really. You know, I can love myself, but apart from that, I can't really love anybody or anything connected with me. But I can't love you. So can you please help me by giving me love for you, love for your holy name? I can't chant your holy name with love without you giving me the mercy of being able to do that. Which is kind of counterintuitive, because you're doing something and at the same time you're simultaneously realizing that it's not actually you that's doing it, it's Krishna that's doing it. And so there's a certain point, there's a certain transition. You're riding on the chariot of the body, and Krishna's asking, why don't you step onto my chariot and let me be the driver? So as you're chanting, you can You can give up being the ego of thinking you're in control, and you can give yourself completely to the chanting, so that the chanting suddenly takes over. And instead of you chanting the mantra starts chanting you. So there's a transition that takes place. The false ego is, I am chanting, I am making my tongue go up and down, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I am shaking the beads, I am doing this, Hare Krishna. I am chanting, I am the chanter. And then we transition over, and the mantra is dancing on our tongue, and the mantra is what's doing it. The mantra is the active principle, and I'm just allowing myself, to be compliant. I'm just going to comply. How does the mantra want to resound in my mouth? Where does the mantra want to go? How does the mantra want me to think? I'm giving myself over completely now. Now the mantra, you take full control. You guide my thoughts. You take me wherever you want, whatever I need to do. I'm just going to give myself completely now. I'm going to become completely malleable to the will of Krishna. And the mantra is now going to take over. And I'm going to disengage from my false ego, which is, I am in control, I'm calling the shots, I have this plan, this is going to take place, then I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do that, then I'll have this strategy for this situation, and I'll say that if that person says this to me, and this is all us in control. And then we're giving all that up. No, Krishna is the one that's in control. I'm going to go into his chariot now, and I'm going to let Krishna drive me, Krishna's going to take me where I need to go. He's going to show me what enemies I need to, or whatever service I need to execute. I will do that under his order. Jai. Okay, so I'll finish there. Iskon Guru Vrinda ki, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Harinam Prabhu ki jai, Mahaprashalam ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanandi.
His Grace Adhoksaja Krishna Prabhu ki.
All of you ki jai.